What's up, everybody? This is Jube from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com. It's time for your Week 9 action as the Argos travel to Edmonton to take on the Eskimos. As always, if you click on the See More button there on the YouTube channel, you can jump to the chapter you're interested in seeing, but we'll get right into it right after we take a look at what happened last week. Very rarely do you see a pro football team playing twice in 1 week, but that's what the Argos just did in Week 8, hosting the Bombers and the Lions at Rogers Centre. The first game worked out pretty well for our double blue. It was back and forth, pretty close for 3 quarters, and then the Argos were able to pull away in the fourth. A tip of the cap to Curtis Steele, who put on a clinic. Even got himself nominated for the TSN 1v1 challenge with a great touchdown run, running over 2 potential Bomber defenders on his way to scoring 6. Solid game all the way around. You saw the Argos defense continue to make those big plays and progressing. Really enjoying what Shane Horton is doing right now. He's good for at least one big play a game. And Shea Emery's got that one big hit a game as well. So you're starting to see that linebacking core really starting to come together and being a big influence on the defensive side of the ball. Now you saw a role reversal happen on Sunday against the BC Lions as the Argos were able to stay close through 3 quarters, even having the lead at one point, only to see them start to fall apart there in the fourth. I'm going to credit it to fatigue, and although BC played really well, as they had a really well-rounded offensive attack, and the special teams were moving the ball very well against the Argos. So that seems to be one of the themes from this season, is that the special teams isn't able to contain the return game of the opposing team. Swayze Waters, though, is just automatic. It's been a lot of fun to watch as a fan to know that you're guaranteed 3 if you can get inside 40 yards. We'll see how things progress for this week. Week 9 sees the Argos travel to the City of Champions, take on the Edmonton Eskimos. This will be the first chance for the Argos to see former defensive coordinator Chris Jones as the opposing head coach, as well as a revisit with Patrick Watkins, who starred as a corner for the Argos for the last couple years. Jones is known for having a very aggressive defense. You're seeing that with what Edmonton's been able to do on the field, making life miserable for opposing offenses. You've also got Riley doing really well, taking the big hits and making the big plays on offense. So the Argos have got their work cut out for them on both sides of the ball. I would have to assume that you're going to see screens and counters on the ground to try to take advantage of that aggressive Edmonton attacking defense, and really got to move the ball in increments to keep that Edmonton offense off the field. Conversely, when they are on the field, that linebacking core of Emery, Horton, and Molden have got to make life miserable for Riley, because if he's got time, he's going to pick you apart. But again, the Argos have been doing that progressively better each week as the defense is really starting to click, and you're starting to see that progression. The big thing is if the Argos can stay healthy on offense. There are rumors Chad Owens might be back for Saturday, which would be a huge boon to that offense, and a great target, of course, for Ricky Ray. Ricky Ray is a pro. There's not a doubt in my mind, one of the best in the game, possibly ever. But every week as he loses another starter, it becomes the preseason all over again as he starts to try to find out tendencies and abilities of his receivers and get that timing down with those folks. So I can only assume he'd be begging, as all of us fans are, to see Chad Owens back sooner rather than later. Special teams, of course, they've got to contain on that coverage. Keep in mind, I was an awful football player, but I did play a little bit on kickoff coverage. And one of the things, I could just hear my old high school head coach screaming behind my head watching that game against BC was stay in your lanes, running down as a unit rather than converging on the ball. And you saw that the Argos had an inability to contain the outside move, keeping the BC returning team from the sidelines where they had that clear lane. It was frustrating. So hopefully we'll see that where it's a more... You want aggressiveness, but you've got to understand your responsibility on the field. Okay, that's enough from Coach Jube here, right? All right, so moving on. For me, this week's fantasy pick is an easy one. Well, I'm going to go with Swayze Waters for a couple reasons. First of all, he is automatic. He hits field goals. Secondly, I'm expecting this to be a field position game, as both defenses I'm expecting to step up and make life miserable for the offense. So this could come down to a field goal or two, and I think Waters is going to be that difference maker. So I would dress Swayze Waters. For those paying attention from last week, I had just Steve Slayton, who played well in that first game, then got injured and didn't appear in the second game. So fingers crossed that I'm not jinxing Swayze Waters. Here's a promise, though. If he goes down with injury this week, then I know I am the kiss of death on fantasy football. You can guarantee it'll be nothing but Ticats I pick for the rest of the season. Prediction time. So, again, based on what I'm expecting from the defensive side of the ball on both teams in terms of being very aggressive, containing, bend, not break, so a lot of field goal kick is what I'm expecting, so that's why that field position is going to be so important. It's also going to result in a very low and close scoring game. So that's why I'm going to say this is going to be a 13-11 Toronto Argonauts win in Edmonton. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope it'll be a nice, big, high-scoring affair. We all hope with that. But that's just me talking out loud. Keep an eye out for the 13-11. Yeah. So that'll wrap things up for us this week on ArgosEndzone.com. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment below with what you like and didn't like as we keep evolving the channel here for you. While we're talking about social media, make sure that you check us out on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as we post relatively frequently. Could have some giggles there. So, Argos, this is another epic road trip where they're not home for, over 40 days? So, we gotta stay tuned to TSN and cheer on our double blue as best we can from the couch. Unless you guys are the road trip type, in which case, enjoy the game and have some fun. Saturday, 3:30. Hope to see you there. Until next time, this is Jube from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com, reminding you that we ride the rail and we ride it hard.